Hi, good afternoon everyone, and thank you very much for joining this webinar. I'm Baz Kinder, Commercial Director of Wellington and a virtual team member of the Microsoft UK project team. So this is part of a wider Apex Alliance Work Smarter series and the second of 4 Microsoft PPM focused webinars. Today I'll be demonstrating how you can increase project visibility and as a result the likelihood of project success. I say this because a lack of visibility is often cited as being one of the key reasons for project failure. One thing that I will say really quickly is if you've got any questions that you would like to ask, my contact details will be coming up at the end, so please feel free to drop me an email and ask away as many questions as you like, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. For now, for today, I would like to start off with a brief pop quiz. And I'm going to do this just before going into the agenda itself. So within your portfolio, could you answer the following? How many active projects do you currently have? And what are the rank statuses of those projects? Are there any milestones at risk of being missed? And how do portfolio actuals compare to baselines? Some of you might be able to answer those questions with a high degree of accuracy, but for the majority, it's not so easy. And just as fog reduces visibility, as per the picture that's on the screen illustrating that, a lack of access to real-time objective insights has the same effect. So within this webinar, we'll discover how you can clear the fog with Microsoft Project Online and Power BI. So here's the agenda. I'll start with an overview of the Apex Alliance and Wellington before highlighting the typical process of requesting and obtaining visibility. I'll then provide a brief overview of Microsoft PPM before going into a high-level demonstration showcasing how you can enhance portfolio visibility. And at the end, again, as I mentioned earlier, I will be showing my contact details. I'll also be telling you about an event that we have coming up later in the year called Future PMO, which is a one-day PMO event. And if you're in the PMO space, it's something that you would really benefit by attending. So first of all, let me introduce the Apex Alliance, which is a collective of the best-of-breed Microsoft Gold partners consisting of IntelliJ, Preact, TES, and of course Wellington, and together we cover a large part of a Microsoft solutions stack. IntelliJ are a Microsoft Gold certified partner with expertise in Office 365, Nintex, and SharePoint. Preact, again, have expertise in Dynamics 365. TES have expertise in ERP, specifically Microsoft Dynamics Navision and 365 Business Central. And Wellington, of course, we have expertise in project and portfolio management. And our mission statement is to enable you to make a step change in your PPM maturity, and we do that through a range of specialist services. And as you can see, we're not solely focused on the technology. We can help you to define your PPM strategy, help you to build your capability and complete delivery from templates to maturity assessments and, of course, Microsoft PPM and a range of other solutions within the Microsoft stack. And to demonstrate our breadth of experience, here are some of our clients. And as you can see, it's quite an eclectic mix of organizations. Many of these organizations are available as reference sites as well. We do also have a number of case studies on our website, and we have more regularly being added. Details for the website, again, coming up at the end. In addition to the Apex Alliance, we're also the exclusive partner in the UK, Spain, and Ireland for PMotto, a cutting-edge virtual assistant that helps you to manage your project. We're also an accredited APM training provider, and if you're in the public sector, you'll be interested to know that we're also an approved supplier on the G-Cloud framework. So let's have a look at a couple of examples of how project visibility is normally requested or provided and see if you can relate to this. To kick off, let's have a look at this excellent Dilbert comic that I came across. So when will I get your project status report? You're asking for a status report on the status of a status report, and so on and so on. And I think this probably sums up at a high level the daily conversations that are taking place within a wide array of organizations where there's no centralized view that rolls up project KPIs automatically. So let's take a bit of a deeper dive. So on the one hand, you might have heard of the term islands of data, and that's typically what most organizations have when we consider project data. Project managers might have plans or schedules in Project Desktop, and RAID logs might be scattered across Excel, OneNote, and Word, or many other applications. Now, because all of the data exists in silos, it's not that easy to roll it up. That's a manual effort, and that's where the DJ comes into play, because what the DJ is really doing is mixing it all up. So this could be the project manager or some poor soul who has the weekly task of consolidating all of the data to churn out a series of project reports which may or may not be standardized or objective. This entire process, and I'm sure if you're going through this, you will recognize that it's very time consuming. And whilst I could go on, I won't, but ultimately this doesn't give the organization the visibility it needs. And really, just providing the same report week in, week out is not going to cut it when all you're really doing is moving out the date. So let's move on and understand how Microsoft Project Online and Power BI can help. So I'll keep this section brief because I covered it on the last webinar, but to recap, there are two variants of Microsoft PPM, which is the enterprise extension to Microsoft Project, the desktop client. There's Microsoft Project Server, which is available as an on-premise server solution, or alternatively, there's Microsoft Project Online, which is available in the cloud within Office 365. And although they're largely the same, I'm today going to be focusing on Project Online as part of a demo that I complete a bit later. Really, when you think of Microsoft Project Online or even Project Server, think of it as a centralized repository. And as you can see on the screen right now, it does offer a lot of functionality that you wouldn't have access to just with Microsoft Project, the client application that I referred to previously. So in brief, the Project Web App Interface, often referred to as PWA, can help you to ensure that you're identifying and selecting the right projects at the get-go, and once approved, that you're managing them in the right way. And of course, it also delivers business intelligence, both natively through Project Online itself and through Microsoft Power BI. You'll see a reference to a phased benefits realization on the bottom of the screen, and that's because we don't recommend a big bang approach to rolling out. The advice really is to see it big and to keep it simple, understand the end vision, but follow a phased implementation roadmap. It tends to work best. And today's focus, of course, being on business intelligence. So as I mentioned on the previous slides, business intelligence is delivered through Project Online, but we also leverage Power BI, which includes a project content pack that comprises of a number of out-of-the-box dashboards and reports. For reference, Power BI is available within the browser as a service and also as a desktop or mobile app. For details around licensing, please check out the link that's displayed on the slide at the moment. So that brings us on to the demo, and this is really going to be a taster of how you can access Project Insights using Project Online and Power BI. It won't be a deep dive or comprehensive overview of the entire solution, so if you want to see more, you can either get in touch with us using the details coming up at the end, or you can visit the Wellington PPM YouTube channel. And one final caveat before I go into the demo is that the demo is going to focus on increasing project visibility. In the next webinar taking place later in August, I'll be looking at increasing resource management visibility, but that is obviously not the topic for today. So let me just divert here to my demo environment, and here we go. So at the moment you can see the home page now to Office 365, where you've got access to a wide variety of apps, including, importantly for us, Project, and of course Power BI. So starting off here, what you can see on the screen right now is the homepage to Project Web App. This is the interface that goes into Project Online. This again is not something that I'm covering in detail today, so what I'm going to do is jump straight over to an area called the Project Center. And the Project Center in a nutshell provides you with real-time views of the latest published information. So to give you a bit of a guided tour here, along the top you've got a timeline view depicting some of the key initiatives that you might be responsible for delivering. You can see where you are at the moment with some of them. So this Coho Health Assessment Tool project is currently in flight. The Diamond Wi-Fi Communication Protocol for Trade Research is a project that's incoming, as is the Galaxy Telescope software for the Dominion Satellite Electronic Telescope. So obviously the person that put this together is a bit of a Star Trek geek. It could be me, but I won't say any more. On the bottom part of the screen, or the central part of the screen really, what you've got is a collection of all the projects. At the moment, they're all grouped by which departments they sit in, but we can also see alignment there of which stage of a life cycle they're sitting in. On the left-hand side, as well as seeing project ID, you've also got project KPIs being reported by the project managers. So that's the project manager's view on how the project is performing. So a lot of green, which might be familiar to many of you. You've also got a range of icons here that indicate that you've got schedules associated with the plans. There are issues on some of the projects, there are associated risks, and there's associated documentation. Of interest to many of you will be the fact that the system does also produce some out-of-the-box objective KPIs. So here we can see KPIs against the schedule, the work amount that's taking place, and also against costs. So what the system here is doing here is it's looking at the original baseline, it's then looking at the subsequent updates, and based upon the tolerances that we've built in, something either remains green, or it goes amber, or it goes red. We can also see here columns for start dates, finish dates, percentage complete. We also have a Gantt chart there on the right-hand side. But you're not limited to these views. So again, you get some views out of the box, but you've got the power to go in and configure as many views as you want. There we go. So here we've got some example views that show us things like cost, earned value, summary, tracking. You can group projects by department, by owner, by sponsor. You could group projects by location, by client. And again, there's no limit to how many views you can create. And within those views, it's entirely up to you what columns you want to display. So this is one area within Project Online that acts as a project register, and it gives you real-time visibility of the project portfolio. This can obviously be controlled by security, so people only see the projects that they're meant to see. But again, this is a great insight into how the project portfolio is performing. But from here, we're actually going to head over to Power BI. And with Power BI, as I mentioned earlier, there is a Project Online content pack that you get out of the box from Microsoft on day one. So you can start using that immediately. So what we're looking at now is the dashboard going into the content pack. So along the top, we obviously see the project logo. There's a bit of a description around the content pack, but importantly, some of the questions that I asked earlier, you might or might not have been able to answer, but here straight away, I can see that we've got 61 projects in the system. That's how many resources we have in the system. We've got issues, we've got risks. That is the portfolio maker. We also see the amount of cost belonging to the portfolio and how much of that's been expended so far. So again, you get lots of visibility. You will notice you've got lots of resource visibility at the bottom as well. But again, I'll be covering that off in the next webinar. One of the benefits of Power BI and one of the great features is the fact that you have got the ability to go in and ask questions about the data. So you don't have to be an expert in reporting. You don't need to be able to write queries. You can simply go in and in plain English, ask a question about the data. So why don't I go in and say, show me cost variance, shall we say, by project name. And what you're going to see is on the fly, that report's actually been created. I also then have the ability to go in and to change the visualization. So at the moment, I'm looking at a clustered bar chart. I could view that as a stacked bar chart. Or we could go into one of my favorites, which is the tree map, which is depicted on the screen right now. And again, it's interactive. So if I roll over, you can see the detail in the background. Something else that you can actually do is actually pin these reports onto bespoke dashboards that you might have built up. But again, I'm not going to do this right now. I'm going to go straight into the reporting content pack and show you some of the actual reports that give us additional visibility about project performance. So first of all, we've got this portfolio dashboard. Again, we see the project count, project cost variance. So straight away, the colors are set as such so that your eyes are drawn to the areas that need your attention, such as cost variance and work variance. Along the top, we have got a variety of filters that we can actually bespoke. So if you want to add your own custom filters in to maybe look at projects by location or by sponsor, by client, you can do that. Here we've also got a report depicting the number of projects sitting in each one of the lifecycle phases. And again, lifecycle is not something that I'm covering today, but Project Online can be set up so that it supports your defined project lifecycles. And here we're seeing a very clear breakdown of the number of projects within each one of these lifecycle phases. We also see a donut report there depicting the number of projects by type. So here we are running a majority of application development projects followed by new product development. In the central part of the screen, it's very similar to what you saw in the project center, but this is interactive again, because if I want to pick on a particular project, all I need to do is click on that project name, and the entire data set updates to reflect that project's information. Aside from this, you've also got reports like Portfolio Timeline. So here on this report at the moment, all of the different types of projects are color-coded. I can see the names of the projects being displayed as well, and these Gantt bars indicate when the projects are taking place, or what is the high-level timeline, and the black bars within those actually indicate the amount of progress that's been made to date. And again, you have got the ability to change the views and to expand out as required. So if, for example, I want to look at all the 2017 portfolio, click on that option there, and the entire table is updated. Aside from this, I've also got centralized views here of portfolio costs. And I'm going to skip some of the reports for now and show you some risk and issue reports at the end. So project risks and issues. And in fact, one of the points that I should have made earlier is that actually all of this data is coming from a variety of sources from within Project Online. Some of the data is coming from the schedule. Some of the content is coming from the project detail pages, where we are capturing some of the key details around the project. And some of the information like risks and issues, that's actually being pulled in from the respective project sites. So within Project Online, every single project has a dedicated project site, which is essentially a SharePoint site where you might store things like project documents and your RAID logs as well. So again, through Power BI, you can pull all of that information together so that it's visible here in almost real time. So every 2 hours, you can have the data set being refreshed. So what you're seeing here is actually quite fresh data, as opposed to somebody going in, requesting a report, and maybe getting it handed to them a week or so later. So these are some of the out-of-the-box reports. We can actually modify these reports as well, and that's what I'm going to show you now. I'm going to show you some of the enhanced versions of the out-of-the-box reports. And first off, I'll show you this one here. So this is the portfolio dashboard. This is one that we've played with a little bit, and we've added in a greater number of graphical indicators, as you will see on the screen at the moment. And if, for example, I want to go straight away to the projects that are in trouble, I can click on that particular icon there, and all of a sudden I see all the projects that are in need of review, shall we say. And aside from this, you can also produce reports like the one that I'm about to display now. So if you're maybe a multinational organization or a national organization that has projects going on, in various locations, we can produce reports like this. So looking at this chart that we have at the top, again called the tree map, we can say that the greatest number of projects, purely by, going off the size of the box there, or the rectangle I should say, we can say that the bulk of the projects are taking place in Paris, France. We also have some projects taking place in Redmond in the States. We also have a number of projects taking place in London. Aside from this, you've also got the ability to create reports like return on investment, which is what we are looking at here. And of course, milestones, instrumental to measuring the performance of any project. You want to know how many milestones you have planned, and how many are on track, and how many are falling behind. And again, this kind of information is presented here. Aside from this, you've also got the ability to go in and look at project highlight reports, referred to here as the project status report. And here what you can see is a great number of KPIs being displayed around the left-hand side, some of which are still populating as I talk. From this along the top, we again have some traffic light indicators indicating that the project is maybe slightly behind. The schedule is certainly far behind, but from a work and cost perspective, we're not doing too bad. I can see who the project manager is, who the sponsor is, and importantly, I see the project description. I see the initial problem statement, and something that's very important to any status report, what is the commentary surrounding it? And that's what we see there in the project status column. Now, aside from what I've talked about so far, you can also see there work over time, cost over time, completed milestones, upcoming milestones, and we can see straight away that we have some variant in place. Although I'm not going to be demonstrating or showcasing the project site or the schedule here, you can see that we've actually got hyperlinks directly into those areas within the system. So that really concludes the demo for today. And again, that was a very high-level presentation. If you would like to see more, we have got lots of demo videos on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/WellingtonPPM. You can also, of course, get in touch with me at the end by using the email address that will be coming up. But for now, let's go back to my slide deck. Let me get that projected back up and talk about next steps. So if you'd like to learn more, then please do get in touch. As I mentioned earlier, we can provide you with a bespoke demo or an on-site workshop so that you can discover the art of the possible. We can also provide you with a 90-day trial licenses to support a formal proof of concept. And of course, we can also assist with an end-to-end implementation, which would include consulting, configuration, training, and providing you with ongoing support. Not just around the tool, but generally to help you to mature your project management maturity. On the slide, you'll also see a reference to SDPS vouchers. That refers to SharePoint Deployment Planning Service vouchers, which your organization might have access to, especially if you have an enterprise agreement in place with Microsoft. If you do have access to these vouchers, they can be used to complete a project and portfolio management solution planning engagement. In other words, a series of workshops to help you understand what the solution could deliver and how we would configure it to suit your organization. So please do check and get in touch if you have any questions. My contact details are now on the screen, so please get in touch if you'd like to learn more or if you'd like to arrange a wider demo. You can also find out more about the Apex Alliance at apexalliance.co.uk. And lastly, if you're in the PMO space, then please do not miss Future PMO. So Future PMO is a one-day event with a difference. The theme this year being Space Wars, with a great lineup of speakers, and I do mean great. You can find out more and book tickets at futurepmo.com. And lastly, thank you very much for taking the time to attend this webinar. I do hope that you found it useful and that it drives change within your organization. Thank you very much.